Do you know what makes me special? I'm a queer. And I'm a witch!
This is Ephesians 6 and 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, and against spiritual wickedness in high places. Shalom, Ka'ala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Ruach Kodash. The honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who are the house of David reborn again in this generation. And shalom to the 1/3 of Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. So in today's lesson, we're going to talk about the spiritual warfare which we have now found ourselves in. And really, we've been in it ever since we were born. It's just only recently come into a lot of our reality to the point where we now understand it in a more perfect way. So in the video we just watched, that was the Ireland contestant from the show called Eurovision. If you're unsure what Eurovision is, think of it like America Got Talent, but over there in Europe. And instead of the contestants coming from different states, they for the most part come from different countries, and it's for the most part turned into like a competition between countries. Well, this woman, I forgot her name, but she made kind of a headline because of what she said, right? How she's a witch, and she's pushing the whole alphabet agenda. And not only that, but when you look at her performance, it was for the most part a ritual. All right, she had the circle drawn. Now it wasn't a complete circle, right? But you know, the point being is that these are literal witches that we are seeing, and this is literal magic that we're seeing being played out right in front of our eyes. Now, remember Albert Pike's letter regarding the 3 world wars that the occult societies of the world would bring forward, so that way they could bring their ultimate grand agenda, being the New World Order, to flourishing. Well, in the part where he talks about the 3rd World War, he ultimately talks about that once they're done with the 3 world wars, or when they get into the 3rd World War, it's going to cause a lot of different emotions in people, because they're going to be spiritually, physically, economically exhausting the people to the point where people are going to want some sort of normal back. They're going to want some sort of answers, something that they could rely on that isn't, you know, defiled with pedophile priests or some sort of, you know, evilness which was a deception. Well, it says in that time, these devils that run the world, and when I say devils, I'm talking about these Edomites, because again, when you look at the grand pictures of things, it is the Edomite nation which is behind all the troubles of the world. This is how the world will eventually realize that the Edomites, which is the biblical name for the Caucasian race, including the Israelis, which they're the same damn people, just different tribes, that they are the wicked that the Bible speaks of. They are the sons of perdition that the world will eventually discover in the end days. Okay, this is why the Lord is bringing out so many scandals, and is especially causing these Amalekites, the so-called Israelis, to constantly keep, you know, falling upon their words, constantly having them slip up and reveal the truth. And that's because the Lord is against Edom, right? The entire nation. And this is why now that he has given them the time of rulership, because again, remember, this last mysterious empire, this mysterious nation of people were going to come, it says in the Bible, and rule the world in wickedness through deception and through their might of weaponry. So again, when we put two and two together, who does that fit in the world? Who rules the world and is doing it through deception and is doing it by their might? Well, it is none other than the Edomite nation. But again, this video isn't about who are the Edomite. It is very plain to see. This lesson is about the spiritual war and those entities which are fighting it. That would be the angels on the left-hand side, which the world sometimes calls aliens or fairies, dark entities, ghosts, right? Or what the Bible refers to them as left-hand angels. Okay, these are spirits that are working under Satan. Satan being a left-hand angel is over them. Okay, and Satan himself works for the Lord in perfect order. He does not rebel against the Lord. That's all Christian Book of Enoch mumbo jumbo, right? Not biblical at all. So that being said, that lady in that show, right? She is a power, right? She may be a small power, right? Maybe in her little city, but I'm guessing since she's on the show and she has a bit of pull now or celebrity, that's probably giving her some more power. So the point being is that when you look at all the avenues that these left-hand angels, these demons, have to our world now, with all the things that have been going on for the last couple of decades, where you have things like, I remember a couple of years ago, these devils 3D printed a replica of Baal's temple door that they found right over there in back east, and they replicated the temple door and they took it around the world. Okay, they took it over there to the New York, they took it by the Statue of Liberty, and they took it, I think to London too, and other places around the world, right? Along with all the other rituals that they always do, be it the rituals that we sometimes will hear whistleblowers come out and talk about how they caught Beyonce doing extreme witchcraft, or killing or sacrificing animals, or just the things like the CERN Large Hadron Collider turning on, opening up, portals to other dimensions, and you got the director talking about they may put something through the portal or something may come in, right? You also have these new quantum computers, which for the most part are producing or are allowing these left-hand angels to speak, because though they say that these are AI and these are computer-generated personalities, when you get into the understanding of quantum computers, and I forgot his name, but he even came out and said that these big computers and the algorithms that go in them and how they work with the qubits and how everything's in a state of fluctuation, that it's as if it's a living being, and those large computers is as if you're standing in front of a throne of an alien god. Okay, and that's because through those quantum computers and that high level of science knowledge, all that is a highly refined version of alchemy, witchcraft. And what are they doing? Well, they're summoning the demons, right? Elon Musk himself said, right, if they enable AI, they're summoning the demons. Okay, so you have all these different avenues, and you have the alphabet community now going crazy in the world, right? And they're definitely invoking demons on people, and this is why we're seeing a large uptick in the alphabetical people going around doing a bunch of crazy shit, and people just out there, meting out tons of judgment. And that's because there's spirits on those people to cause this chaos, to cause this violence, to bring the judgment upon the earth, as the Bible says. Okay, and you got witches on live TV performing rituals, because again, when you look at that lady's performance, it was basically a ritual. Okay, she had the seance circle on or the summoning circle with the pentagram on the floor, right? It had a song or whatnot. I didn't see the whole thing, but I seen only clips of it, and I'll see if I. But the thing is, it was obviously a ritual, and this isn't the only time. When you look at halftime shows, you look at music events, right? When you go to movie venues or musical venues, right? There a lot of times they're doing rituals, right? The Travis Scott ritual where those people got stampede and people were saying that there were spirits, on the people and it was demonic. Well, no duh, right? We are in a spiritual war, and you've just stumbled upon the field of combat. Well, one of the big players in this field of combat of the spiritual warfare is the Vatican. And what is the Vatican doing about it? Well, it tells you right here. This is from Fox News. It says the Vatican preparing guidelines for apparitions, which means suddenly appearing ghosts or spirits, other supernatural phenomenon. Apparitions are appearances or communications with divine beings such as saints, angels, or Christ himself. Okay, so it says the Vatican is preparing to release a document giving guidance on how to discern spiritual phenomenon. The Holy See, this is what they refer to the Vatican as, press office announced the upcoming document will be published May 17th, basically this upcoming Friday, with a live stream press conference featuring prefect for the dicastery of the doctrine of the faith, Cardinal Victor Manuel Fernandez. Fernandez has previously said the diocese is in the process of finalizing a new text with clear guidelines and norms for the discernment and apparitions of other phenomena, according to the National Catholic Register. An apparition refers to an instance in which a divine entity, such as a saint, the Virgin Mary, or Christ himself, makes itself known to a person on earth. Now, real quick, man, these people are devils, right? If you're unaware, the Vatican is not the representation of God of the Bible. They are representations of Satan. Okay, they are ultimately doing Amalek's will. And when you understand the politics of the Vatican, you understand that it's now been taken over by the Jesuit order. The Jesuit order basically being the Freemasons that got into the Vatican, right? Because remember, when the Knights Templars were destroyed by the original Vatican, the Knights Templars went into hiding, came back out as the Freemasons, and then later on as the Jesuits to infiltrate the religious sect of the world powers. And well, they finally have done it with the most recent Pope. And really, when you go back to all the bureaucracy behind the Vatican, the last real Pope was Pope John Paul. I forgot his number or whatever, but Pope John Paul. But even still, he wasn't a representation of God. He was simply just the head of the World Religious Organization, which up until that point was somewhat still on the rails. It's now since come off the rails and is barreling down the hillside with the way that they're bringing forward the false doctrine of the false prophet, which is the Vatican, as it says in the book of Revelations. Now, let's continue. It says, such as a saint or the Virgin Mary. Well, first, so they're trying to say is that there may be a saint that may appear to people, right? But remember, the Bible tells you that the dead do not talk to the living, right? If you have an entity that's talking to you and they say, oh, they're John the Baptist, or they're your great uncle, or they're your grandma, that's a demon, okay? That's a left-hand angel trying to deceive you and using the gullibility of the person to try to influence them and make them think that they're something that they're not. The other thing, the Virgin Mary. The Virgin Mary is not biblical at all, okay? The Virgin Mary of the church ultimately is an amalgamation of all the worshiping of Ishtar throughout all of human history, culminated into modern day religion, right? That's where you get the Virgin Mary. That's where the Immaculate Birth comes from. Mary, which was the mother of Yahweh Shai, she was a young woman, which is why the term virgin was put upon her, is because she was a young woman of marriageable age. Okay, that's what made her a young virgin. Now, her and Joseph ultimately did have sex, and they brought forth the seed of Joseph, which was the seed of David, that being Yahweh Shai, okay, fulfilling the prophecy, right, that the seed of David will be brought forth. But again, this whole Virgin Mary, that's a demon. Okay, if any woman shows up to you and claims to be the Virgin Mary floating in the sky, that's a demon pretending to be the Virgin Mary, right? And it says, and Christ himself, when Christ comes back, he's going to come back, okay? He's not going to be an ethereal, floating in the sky hologram, okay? He's not going to come out of the clouds floating down on just his body. No. The Bible tells you in Acts that the Lord is going to come back the same way he did, right? And what does that mean? That means he's going to come back in what modern day society understands as a UFO invasion. Okay, we're going to see a large armada of so-called UFOs come, and in them are going to be the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, along with the other angels. Okay, they're going to be piloting them, these craft, these chariots of heaven, and then they're going to be ultimately abducting the 1/3 plus the elect of Israel, right? While the others are going around destroying, bombing, lasering, and annihilating the powers that be. Because again, remember, the second coming of the Messiah is not going to be peace. It's going to come with great destruction upon the powers that be. This is why they're ultimately going to try to fight the Lord when he comes back. So again, the Messiah himself is not going to appear to people, be it on a piece of toast, on a ketchup stain, or floating down from some clouds as if he's lighter than air. No, he's going to come back. It's going to be a real representation of him. So this whole Christ appearing to people, that's a demon, okay? And it says, makes itself known to a person on earth. The concept is a recurring theme in the Bible, and most Christian denominations affirm the belief that such brushes with the supernatural can still occur today in various capacities. And see, a lot of these supernatural events that people experience today, that's demons. Those are spirits jumping on these people. And why is that? Well, because the whole world lies in wickedness. Right? What does it tell you? This is 1 John 5:19. And we know that we are of God, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. And you see, that's because we have the true gospel. We understand what the Bible is actually talking about. Right? We understand who the 18 nations are today. Now, these devils, they're out here talking about supernatural, entities. These are all perceived as good signs. But where is it talking about the demons, the bad spirits, the left-hand spirits? No, it's not, because these devils are not going to tell the people that we're in a spiritual war, right? They're going to basically feed these people to the demons, okay? And I bet you, we're going to find out on Friday, but I bet you a lot of the stuff in the new guideline is going to be wrong information. They're going to basically tell you there to make friends with them and this and that, and I'm sure none of it's going to be something that we're going to be able to rely on, but I'll look through it, and if it's anything of interest, I'll report it to you, Akim. Well, let's continue. It says, the Catholic Church urges extreme prudence before ascribing phenomena to a supernatural force, warning that being too quick to attribute divine origins to explainable occurrences can damage the faith and warp belief. Alleged apparitions are usually documented and scrutinized by the diocesan bishops' offices, and then forwarded to Rome for further investigation. The last time the Vatican Doctrinal Office released guidance on apparitions was in 1978 under Pope Paul VI. I guess this is that one Pope I was talking about, Pope John Paul VI. That document norms regarding the manner of proceedings in the discernment of presumed apparitions or revelations was released due to the increased influence of mass media. The miracle of Fatima in 1917, which by the way was a bunch of bullshit. You had like 3 kids, 2 girls, 1 boy, and ultimately the oldest girl was the ringleader. I think they said that, or their palms started bleeding and stuff, and that they seen the Virgin Mary glow in front of them or something, and that the Virgin Mary gave them a secret message which they couldn't reveal until the end days and shit, which is a bunch of BS. They ultimately encountered a demon, and this demon basically afflicted them. Okay, but because they're in the Catholic Church, right? Catholic just being a term meaning universal. They're not learning the Bible, right? They're not learning the Lord's word. What they're learning is man-made doctrine and idol worshiping. Because again, that's what Virgin Mary worship is, Virgin Guadalupe worship, and all the saints worship. That's all paganism and idol worshiping. Okay? Back to the article. It says, the miracle of Fatima in 1917 is perhaps the most well-documented apparition in the modern day. After an alleged series of appearances by the Virgin Mary to several peasant children that promised a public miracle, tens of thousands of people in Fatima, Portugal, claimed to witness the sun move erratically across the sky and produce radiant colors for several minutes. So you basically had a celestial event here that these troglodytes, attributed to this demon that was presenting itself as Virgin Mary. The Catholic Church recognized the supernatural aspects of the events in 1930. Pope Pius VII formally approved the Fatima apparitions a decade later. So these are, it says, in 1952, pilgrims make their ways to Fatima in Portugal to see the site where the Virgin Mary was said to have appeared in 1917. So you see, a lot of people in this world, they don't know what's going on in the Bible, right? They claim to love the Lord, but they're out here worshiping a woman that's not even tied to the Bible, that the leaders of this world have lied and taught religion and made people believe worshiping of Ishtar was an okay thing to do. But like the angel told Ezra, right, there are many in this world that shall not make it, that there are going to be more that perish than those who are going to be saved. And that's because a lot of people, they won't do something as simple as reading a book, and ultimately they've been rejected. This is just more info about it. It tells you the Vatican to publish new document on Marian apparitions next week. This is the Cardinal Fernandez, who's going to actually make the live stream release of this new document. And we'll see if he has anything to note. This is Wisdom of Solomon 17:6. Only there appeared unto them a fire kindled of itself, very dreadful. For being much terrified, they thought the things which they saw to be worse than the sight they saw not. So, in the end times, there are going to be apparitions. There's going to be more spiritual infestation of our world. And right now, with all these crazy judgments going around, all these alphabet lifestyle people coming out, that is a side effect of these spirits coming into this world. Now these spirits, when they come into this world, they need to go into a temple to do something, to interact. And well, because this world is being ran in wickedness, there's a lot of people who have defiled their temples, their bodies, and don't even know it, right? They're out there eating pork in the morning with their sausage, their bacon, right? They're out there performing pagan rituals when they, practice Halloween, Christmas, New Year's Eve, Mother's Day, all these type of things, right? Defiling their temple, making their soul malicious, so that way that the Holy Spirit, which is the understanding of the Bible, will not come into them. Now, because their temple is now void of the Holy Spirit and the Spirit of the Lord, it's now an empty temple, an empty vessel, and these spirits that are all around, they jump right in. This is why they say you should never let an alphabet member get around a little baby, okay? Because they're going to put those spirits right on that baby, okay? This is why you're always seeing those demons getting caught with little kids and shit. So, that being said, let's continue with this, because it says, verse 7, as for the illusion of art and magic, right, witchcraft, they were put down, right, which means a lot of these witches out here, they're going to start to realize that their magic no longer works. Their spells, their enchantments, they no longer are going to give them protection or the power that they used to use to get their way in this world. It says, and their vaunting in wisdom was reproved with disgrace. People are going to realize that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So all these witches, they're out here talking about, oh, you got to do this and that, Saturn's in this part, or Aquarius is this. These people who are performing these rituals, and this goes all the way up to like the political elites of our world, because again, they're witches as well, but they're not the, ride a broomstick witches. No, they're pantsuits and bureaucracy witches, man. They work with the occult sciences, right, which is very refined, very hidden, and only for the elites. Now, that right there, they're going to realize that their witchcraft isn't working. And what is some of the higher end witchcraft? Well, we talked about it a little while ago, right? The high end quantum sciences, okay, the things that are bringing forward these quantum computers, the understanding of the Large Hadron Collider and those sciences. You have bureaucracy in itself, right? The craft which these devils, these Edomites prevail in, right? Red tape. They are amazing at that, right? Just as you got Jake out here who's able to sing you a ballad or score for you the most epic of games. You got Edom over here, these Edomites, writing up all this bureaucracy, these laws, and all these policies to that'll make your head spin, right? And they do it with such ease because that's their gift, right? That's their ability. Okay, all that is gonna fail. So you're gonna see all the legal systems and all these agendas they're pushing forward for the New World Order is gonna fail. Okay, we're already starting to see things like that happening. It says, verse 8, for they that promised to drive away terrors and troubles from a sick soul were sick themselves of fear, worthy to be laughed at. For though no terrible thing did fear them, yet being scared with beasts that passed by and hissing of serpents. So ultimately, all these people out here who are, leaning on the left-hand arts, their power is going to fade, and they're ultimately going to be plagued by those left-hand angels. And why is that? Well, because the time for these devils to come up and use the left-hand powers is gonna be over. You see, because you got to remember, just as in the book of, I think it was Kings, where you had the left-hand angels telling the Lord that, how they were going to go down and confound the prophets of the king of Israel, so that way he could fall in battle. They're doing the exact same thing today with these Edomites, right? They are telling them a story that they can win and they can continue to rule as long as they do perform these certain things. Microchip everybody, provide child sacrifice, do this, do that, right? All the agenda that we're seeing these devils go forward with right now, that is what is being asked of them. This is why they're doing all that stuff. But they're not going to prevail. This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And that's what's happening right now. People are seeing what these Edomites all are about, okay? And that whole you got some Edomites over here, asking for peace, but you got these other Edomites over here killing. People used to think that, okay, it wasn't all Edomites, but now people are realizing that these are the devils, these are the wicked of the world. Okay, now that is a hard narrative to find here in the States, but when you go outside of the United States, that is like the chiming narrative around all these other countries, right? Is that they're not for these Edomites. Okay, it doesn't matter if they don't come from America. If they come from America, that's they do not like Americans. Okay, but if you're an Edomite that comes from Australia, you may get a little leeway, but you're still seen as an enemy, right? From what these other nations, how they perceive these Edomites, because again, they have been shown that to be the trouble with the world, and this is why the world is rising up against them. Or what does it tell you in Job? I think it's 20 and 26. It says the heavens shall reveal his iniquity, and the earth shall rise up against them. That's what we're seeing right now. This is why there's so many people turning against these Edomites around the world. So either way, I just wanted to show you this video. I thought it was spiritual. All right, so until next time, let's go give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahshai, Bashem Ruach HaKodesh. Shalom.